Good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of high school basketball with the Bethany Christian Bruins. Tonight from Buller Court on the campus of Bethany Christian Schools in Goshen, Indiana, the Bruins go for their 20th win of the season, looking to extend a program record, but the foe they are doing it against is probably their hardest of the season to date, as Fairfield High School comes in ranked number 3 in the state and number 7 in the state, in Class 3A. They are 20-2. They are undefeated, 10-0 in the Northeast Corner Conference with one game to go. Their only losses to 4A schools in Columbia City and Fort Wayne Snyder. The Bruins come into this ball game on a 9-game winning streak. They haven't lost since they faced Highland, another 3A program, back on December 27th. Bethany's only other loss this year to the number 1 team in Class 2A, Central Noble. That was back on November the 15th as the Bruins and Cougars met over in Albion. We've got 2.5 minutes coming up until our tip-off later this evening, as this is the final game of the regular season for the Bruin girls. Fairfield will be back in action on Friday when it hosts West Noble in the final game of the NECC slate. Both of these teams looking ahead to the sectionals the week after that as well. Bethany will go to Fort Wayne Blackhawk and play Blackhawk in the first game. Fairfield will host its sectional, got a bye to the semifinal, and will take on West Noble on Friday, February the 3rd at 6 p.m. The Bruins average 47 points a game this year. They give up 31. Fairfield averages 55 points a game, gives up 29, but I'm seeing a whole lot more 4A opponents on the Fairfield schedule than I am on the Bruins schedule. They note, the statewide John Harrell website notes that Fairfield's opponents are 8 games under 500 at 222 and 230. Bethany's opponents are more than 80 games under 500, 166 and 250. Mr. Harrell has the Falcons as a 22-point favorite. I think that number probably a little bit high, but Fairfield certainly favored in this contest as we get set to tip things off here on Buller Court in a little more than a minute. My name's Tony Miller. Thanks for joining us this evening as we come to you from high above courtside in the mezzanine up above the east end zone as the teams go back to their benches for some final instructions. They're going to put the balls away as well, and we'll see who we get announced as our starting lineups as things get going later on here this evening. If Bethany's got 12 more games left in the season, 9 boys games, 1 girls game, and then at least 1 per gender in the sectional tournament. If they win at least 1, it'll be the 3rd time in program history that the 2 teams have combined for 30 wins in a season. And they are making a run at the all-time winning percentage record as well. That one is intrinsically more annoying to forecast because your season just about always ends in a loss unless you're the state champion. Now we're going to let the game clock run down, and then we'll get into our preliminary pregame announcements here on BruinsVision. We thank you for joining us, and we'll hope you'll be with us tomorrow evening as well. The Bruin boys take on Wawasee in a 5:58 p.m. JV pregame show. We'll have the varsity following about 7:15 as well, right here on BruinsVision. Fairfield will be the visiting team on the scoreboard. I guess it says guest up there on the right side of the display. Bethany will be on the left side as we get started for fortunately. Morgan Gothrop, a 5'8 senior, gets a start for Fairfield. Rhea Garber, a 6' senior. Kaylee Dillon, a 5'6 junior. Delana Geiger, a 5'5 sophomore. Bailey Willard, a 5'5 senior for the Falcons as they round out the starting lineup. The Bruins will presumably come out of this with the same quintet they've been using for most of the season. And I'm wrong right off the bat. Eva Horning, 5'1 junior at 1.8 points a game. Colette Kern, a 5'6 senior, 3.1 points per game. Mariah Stilsfoos, a 5'3 junior at 10.1 points per game. Zoe Willems, a 5'10 junior, at 17.5 points per game. She's third in program history with 1,032 points. And Kirsten Todd, a 5'10 senior, at 6.4 points per game. Fairfield is coached by Brody Garber. He is in, I think, his 17th season, no, not his 17th season at the helm at Fairfield. I'm thinking of Doug Springer at Northridge. Brody Garber in his 11th year at Fairfield, 172 and 89. And Kristen Parson is 185 and 197 in her 17th year on the Bruins sideline. Fairfield in the traveling blue uniforms. They've got white numerals. Bethany in the home whites with blue numbers. Bethany comes left to right in the first half. Fairfield goes from right to left. As we've got players in the center jump circle getting ready for the tip, we're going to get some folks back up into the student section and off the sideline. And once we blow the whistle and step into the center jump circle, we are off and running. Fairfield wins the tap as the ball comes back to Bailey Willard. We are underway at 7:28 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Fairfield works the ball over to the left side wing. That's number 32, Willard, with the basketball looking to her left. Can't find anywhere to go with it. Back to Gothrop, top of the circle. Three-pointer on the way from Bria Garber, the University of Indianapolis commit. Shot missed off the strong side. It's out of bounds off Fairfield. It will go to the Bruins. 19 seconds gone in the first quarter, still scoreless. If you're just joining us and missed that starting lineup, it is Eva Horning on the floor in the backcourt with Stolzfus and Colette Kern, then Zoe Willems and Kirsten Todd up front. We have seen Julia Mosier in the starting lineup throughout the season, but she's not there tonight, checking in at 5'2", gives up a little bit too much size to the Falcon front line. Stolzfus working around the perimeter, looks for Kern, had the pass knocked away. There is a steal for Kaylee Dillon, and Stolzfus called for the blocking foul, trying to prevent the easy layup. Stolzfus, first personal foul, team foul number 1. That'll send Kaylee Dillon to the free throw line, shooting free throws. Uniform number 24 for Dillon, and she makes the first. Dillon's second free throw on the way, off to the left a little bit. It looked out of her hands, but I guess I'm not looking straight down the middle of the court either, because the free throw was sweet as honey and into the net. Kern has a pass deflected over to Horning. Now Willems makes a run into the lane. Bounce pass out for a jumper from Horning that's off the iron 2 times, no good. And we've got a foul underneath. It'll go against Bethany, and Kristen Parsons not happy about it. As Kirsten Todd picks up her first personal foul. I believe that Parson suggesting there was more contact that could have been called that was not, as the ball goes back to Fairfield with 6:49 to go in the first quarter. Coming across the timeline is Willard, who works over to the right side, runs into Kern. Bounce pass comes back to the top of the circle. They swing it back to the left side corner. That is Morgan Gothrop with the basketball. Garber on the left side wing, back to Willard, right slot. In the right side, over to the right side wing, driving into the lane. Ball is knocked away, and that's going to be a foul on Willems. Bethany's third team foul in 94 seconds. And it will be Fairfield basketball on a fresh possession. Pass comes in over the top. It is run down 2 steps into backcourt by Kaylee Dillon. Dillon brings it back across the timeline into the forecourt, stops at the top of the circle. Right slot defended by Willems. Over to Willard, on the left side wing. That's Todd on the interception of the entry pass into the post. Coming out the other way is Stolzfus throwing the ball forward. They're saying it was knocked out of bounds off of Fairfield, and possession stays with the Bruins with 6:11 to go in the first quarter. Horning puts the ball into Stolzfus, who walks the ball across the timeline. Stolzfus bounce pass over to Horning. Horning looks underneath and dribbles the ball down there herself. Gives it up, and Fairfield comes the other way. There's a bounce pass into the lane for the layup. It's good from Dillon. She's got 4 points right off the bat. And the Bruins have the one thing I didn't feel like they could afford in this game was a slow start and having to play from behind, and that is exactly what they're doing. 5:53 to go in the first quarter, and I can hear this huddle from the other end of the gym. The one thing you worry about with a team that just finished senior night, just finished an unbeaten run through the Hoosier Plains Conference, and is setting records left and right, is they read a few too many of their own press clippings, and press clippings are great, but they don't win you basketball games, and Fairfield's had the early edge on that front. So off the Fairfield make, it's going to be Bethany basketball. Willems trigger the inbound pass. Stolzfus Todd up the middle. Horning on the left side, and all the way up on the other end is Kern. Stolzfus gets the ball over to Willems as Fairfield tries to get some pressure on three-quarter court level. This is Kern working back out up the left side. Now she gives the ball to Stolzfus, who's still trapped over along the sideline. Got the 5-second count going as they give the ball to Horning. Now this is Stolzfus again, high above the left side wing. Bruins have held the ball for almost 30 seconds and haven't gotten it closer than 20 feet from the goal. Stolzfus is on the right side wing, skips the ball to Willems. Willems drives baseline, shot is up and off the front of the iron, no good. Rebound deflected by Kern, taken away by Gothrop. Here comes Fairfield. 5:10 to go first quarter. Willard over into the corner for Garber. She drives baseline, has an uncontested run to the goal until Willems meets her. And Garber is in the scorer's book for the first time tonight. She's got 2. Fairfield's got 6. Falcons by half a dozen. Stolzfus is directing traffic and double teamed, and she's going to have to run the ball into the forecourt. There is contact as she was knocked out of bounds, but Willems picked up the loose ball. Stolzfus over on the right side wing comes to a stop. This is a Bethany team that we see move the ball so much during the year, and we're getting absolutely none of that. Ball is knocked out of bounds tonight. 4:37 to go in the first quarter. We're going to see Mosier check into the ball game as Willems will depart so that she can get some wisdom from Coach Parson and re-enter and return it to the rest of the team. Willems still hasn't sat down over by the bench yet. This is Horning, top of the circle. Shovels the ball back to Stolzfus. Stolzfus is out between the rings. Mosier on the right side wing comes back to the top of the circle, throws the pass or looks at Horning, and then throws her the pass a second time as if she'd thrown it the first time, the ball would have been deflected. This is Horning going underneath to Todd. Pass zigged. Player zagged. Third Bruin turnover here in the first 4 minutes. Fairfield has 1. Falcons come to the left side of the floor. That is Dillon trying to skip it across. Ball was saved back in bounds by Willard, but she saved it off the sideline. Willems will check back into the game, and Horning will come out for Bethany with 4:07 to go in the first quarter. Worth noting, of course, that the enrollment classes mean these are two schools that have no chance of ever meeting in an IHSAA basketball tournament, which they are looking ahead to next week. Bethany in a 1A sectional in Fort Wayne, Fairfield in the 3A sectional up here in Elkhart County. Todd goes up with the shot from the left side and misses it. Then there is a whistle, and the alternating arrow will give the ball back to the Bruins with 3:52 to go in the first quarter, and some of the Fairfield fans certainly think there should have been a foul called, but we've seen more than a few fans come in here that want every single whistle they can get going their team's way, and that sure seemed to be the sort of thing we're talking about there. This is Willems back to Mosier. Now Stolzfus between the circles. Bounce pass to Todd in the lane. Her jumper from the left side elbow is too short. Willems gets in on the rebound, almost wrestled the ball away, but wasn't able to finish the job. Fairfield out to the other end of the floor, and they will get it back to Willard, top of the circle 3. Off to the right side, no good. Rebound is picked up by nobody. They're going to get a foul called on Fairfield before Willems was able to possess. Morgan Gothrop picks up her first personal foul. Team foul number 1 on Fairfield as Eva Herbert, number 3, checks into the lineup. 5'9" freshman, and when you're already 5'9" as a 9th grader, it's easy to see a lot more time on varsity than you would on JV. This is Willems dribbling in the center jump circle for the Bruins. Stolzfus holds the ball out there. She's double teamed all the way up top, 40 feet from the goal. 3:10 to go in the first quarter. They skip it over to Kern on the left side wing, and she is held before she puts up a shot that hits the side of the backboard. Jelena Geiger with her first personal for Fairfield. Team foul number 2, as Horning will replace Colette Kern. Stoltzfus and Todd, the only Bruins that have not come out of the game yet. This is Mosier over on the left side wing. Willems way up high on the perimeter, left of the jump circle. Todd gives the ball to Mosier in the corner. Julia takes 2 dribbles back toward the top of the circle and throws the ball to Willems. Zoe's runner in the lane, hits the back of the iron and pops up. Rebound taken by Bailey Willard. Willard going to bring the ball across the timeline on the left side wing. 2:43 to go, first quarter. Fairfield 6, Bethany nothing. Driving lane left side, that is Gothrop giving the ball back out. They'll go around the perimeter to Willard. Handoff Garber with 2.5 left in the quarter. This is Herbert over on the right side wing. And Fairfield works the ball around. Now Gothrop has it in the corner. She's going to skip it all the way across the floor to Herbert. Herbert holds in the right hand, directs traffic with the left. Trapped against the sideline by Willem. She's able to bring the ball back out. Herbert holding. Willard out between the circles with 2:08 to go. Willard driving around Horning. There's a little bit of a mismatch size. No, it's actually a big mismatch size-wise. Offensive rebound and putback is good for Geiger, and Fairfield leads this one 8-0. The Bruins just looked totally out of sorts on offense tonight. Todd lost the ball, got it back, Horning into the corner, almost threw it away, gave it to Mosier, who left the shot well short. It bounced off the rim and almost fell anyway, but the rebound is taken by Geiger, and it's still 8-0 Fairfield as the Falcons come into the forecourt. Here's Garber coming across the timeline as she is defended by Willems. Down to 86 seconds to go in the first quarter. 3 on the way from Willard in the right slot, good. 11-0 Fairfield, 1:19 to go. 30-second timeout taken by the Bruins as this is Bethany's second timeout of the first quarter. And, yeah, Fairfield has proven early in this game, I think, why they are favored. I can't say they're favored to make, a huge run all the way into the state tournament, just in the sense that I don't know everybody that they could run into in the 1A North Regional and Semi-State, but I think they are certainly the favorite to make it out of their sectional. And a 3A school in that position, taking on a 1A school in that position, well, this is what you get. For the Bruins, this is a matchup against a team that is going to help up the intensity as you go into sectional play after some Hoosier Plains Conference rivals that were not necessarily the most competitive. If you saw the games against Trinity or Career Academy at South Bend, you know what I'm talking about. Jessica Caffey on the floor for the Bruins. I also see Natalie Whitaker, number 4, out there for Fairfield. As Stoltzfus comes to the top of the circle, fakes to her right, and gets the ball over to Kern. The Bruins have been able, even against some bigger enrollment foes, to get the ball moving pretty well at will and expose some seams in the opponent's defense, and it is Fairfield that's being able to move the ball at will here tonight. As the Bruins get the ball into the free throw circle, Caffey threw it out for Stoltzfus and had the pass taken away. Going coast to coast and canning the layup is Morgan Gothrop. Fairfield has 5 scorers tonight. The Bruins have none. Fairfield by a baker's dozen as Kern is double-teamed in backcourt. Stoltzfus runs the ball across the timeline, goes over into the right side corner. That is Mosier bringing the ball back to Horning with 21 seconds to go. Horning gets the ball to Caffey in the free throw circle. Back out to Stoltzfus with 15 remaining. Stoltzfus crosses over to her right hand. Gives the ball to Mosier. Top of the circle, this is Kern. 6 seconds left in the quarter. Stoltzfus left side wing. Baseline jumper on the way, off the front of the iron, no good, and the ball will not be possessed before the first quarter concludes. So, at the end of the first quarter, it is Fairfield 13, Bethany Christian nothing. Again, we want to remind you that we've got boys basketball coming up the next, or 2 of the next 3 nights on BruinsVision, as Bethany's boys take on Wawasee in a non-conference matchup tomorrow night. That's a 5:58 p.m. JV pregame show. Varsity following about 7:15 right here on BruinsVision.net. We did get that set up, so if you type in BruinsVision.net, it will take you right to the YouTube channel. Then on Thursday, it's a Hoosier Plains Conference matchup the Christian Collision, as they like to call it, as Bethany takes on Elkhart Christian. Those both boys games, and the boys do not play Fairfield, and the way this game has gone, again, Fairfield comes into this game ranked number 7 in the Class 3A poll. They are receiving votes in the IBCA single class poll, the Indiana Basketball Coaches Association ranking, and that, they are getting picked over a majority of 4A schools. Of course, South Bend, Washington's the unanimous number 1 in the state in the IBCA poll. And that's somebody that Fairfield won't have to deal with because they're in 4A when they get to the state tournament. Bounce pass comes out here to Whitaker. They skip the ball across the floor to Eva Herbert. She's on the left side wing going down toward the baseline. The other thing that Bethany is going to run into in terms of trying to make a comeback in this game is that there's no shot clock in the high school game, as we've gone over countless times, and Fairfield's got the skills to hold the ball and not give it back to the Bruins. As the entry pass goes underneath to Garber, she's got 4 points tonight, though it's a golden point. It's point number 15 scored by player number 15 for Fairfield, and it looks like a tennis margin for the Bruins. 15 love, or love 15, I guess, if Bethany's got the ball at the moment. This is Mosier giving to Stolzfus. Mosier's got it back left side corner. Entry pass to Caffey, back out to Stolzfus. Caffey in the free throw lane, throws the ball underneath to Stolzfus. Layup rolls out, and when Mariah Stolzfus is missing layups, you know things are really not going right for the Bruins in blue and white this evening. 6:42 to go, second quarter. Fairfield 15, Bethany 0. Pass goes into the corner. Willard lobs it down to Garber on the right side block, and she is held as she tried to unleash the basketball. We'll see who they get the foul on. As Mariah Stolzfus picks up her second personal, team foul number 4. Zoe Willems will come back in for the Bruins, joined by Kirsten Todd. Fairfield, Jaislyn Hall back into the game, and I think so I'm trying to figure out who the other sub was while I was writing down the Bethany ones. The ball comes into Garber, and she's going to put it into the corner. Three-pointer on the way, too strong. Willems has the rebound. Incidentally, Willems came into the game with 600 rebounds, leaving her 79 short of Cassie Miller's all-time Bruin record. She needs 6 boards tonight to get to tie Gwen Kelly in second place. Now, Gwen Nothnagel, she graduated in 2008, and, of course, a lot of girls basketball players get married and change their names after their high school career. There's a foul on Bethany as the ball comes into the free throw circle as Kirsten Todd picks up her second foul. And foul trouble could be another issue for a Bruin team that really only goes 7 or 8 deep. Not quite 2 minutes into the second quarter, and the Bruins have 2 players with 5 fouls. Pass comes in over the top to Kaylee Dillon. Dillon works to her right. Ball goes underneath to Garber, who's double-teamed. They will get it out to the left side wing. Now back to the top of the circle. That's Dillon. Dillon into the corner. Herbert drives, stops on the right side of the lane, and rattles it home. 17-0, the Fairfield advantage with 5:40 to go, second quarter. Willems bounce passes it to Todd. Over to Kern on the left side wing. Kern gives it to Willems between the circles. Just to finish that thought on the rebound record, so with that board, Willems is now, I think, 5 short of Kelly for the number 2 all-time spot on the Bruin charts. And the issue is that the easiest way to get rebounds is for your opposition to miss shots, and Fairfield just hasn't been doing that. Alternating possession gives the ball back to the Bruins. 5:18 to go, second quarter, as Julia Mosier checks into the game, replacing Todd. We also have Morgan Gothrop back in for Fairfield. So Gothrop is out there with Garber. I see number 24, Dillon. I see number 35, Jaislyn Hall. And number 30, Delana Geiger. This is Morgan Chupp into the game for the Bruins, giving the ball to Mosier. They work it around the perimeter to Kern. Willems out between the rings with 5:05 to go in the first half. She puts the ball on the floor to the right side, gets it back on the wing, looks three-point opportunity, and send dribbles to the top of the circle. Mosier, left side wing, had a toe on the three-point arc, gave the ball in to Willems, who couldn't corral it to go up for the rebound, or for the shot, I should say. Rebound taken by Gothrop, who wrestles it away from Willems. Fairfield comes up the floor and goes into the left side corner. There's a three-point try on the way, and that missed. Okay, so not everything has gone right for Fairfield, as they're going to get called for a traveling violation, and Delana Geiger picks up that stoppage in play as Horning and Stoltzfus check into the game for the Bruins with 4:34 to go, second quarter. So Stoltzfus, Horning, Willems in the backcourt. Mosier up here on your near side. Kern on the far side corner as Willems comes across the timeline. 4:21 to go in the second quarter. This is Stoltzfus on the left side wing. Bruins on nearly a 12-minute scoring drought. Feeling good coming off a win over a 3A foe in Culver Academy on Saturday, and that feeling was quickly erased tonight. Ball is stolen by Fairfield, back into the lane. Runner is up and off front iron for Kaylee Dillon. Rebound is taken by Stoltzfus, who will slow things down because the Bruins didn't have numbers as they tried to fast break the other way. Stoltzfus stands there and directs traffic. Goes over to Horning on the left side wing. Horning comes to a stop between the circles. This is Willems, left side. She looks to her right, now dribbles back to her right, gives the ball to Kern. 3:38 to go, second quarter. The totals on the board are correct, which is not what Bethany wants you to say. Willems, three from the left side wing, misses off to the left. Rebound, grabbed by Garber. Here comes Fairfield. She gets around Horning. Garber into the free throw lane on the other end, crosses over Stoltzfus, and a foul before the shot. Foul's on the floor, and it'll be Bethany's last common foul before Fairfield goes to the line. Morgan Schutt picks up her first personal foul, team foul number 6. We're going to see a couple of Fairfield subs come into the game here. Eva Herbert and Bailey Willard. As the ball comes in over the top. Willard immediately gets the basketball, defended by Kern. Working down in front of the bench. Willard throws the ball underneath to Garber. Now back out to Morgan Gothrop on the right side. They skip it, Garber left side wing. This is Herbert in the corner as we come down on 3:05 to go. And a traveling violation called on Fairfield will give the ball back to the Bruins. I'm going to be honest, it's hard to beat around the bush here. Bethany is, and they need to get the ball in the basket. They need to do it soon, or they're looking at a really ignominious defeat. As the turnover over in front of the Fairfield bench will give the ball back to the Falcons. Kirsten Todd checks in for Bethany, and Fairfield puts Natalie Whitaker back into the ball game. .254 to go in the first half. Fairfield has 7 field goals, one of which is a 3 and 2 free throws, and they lead by 17. Garber over on the right side elbow, throws the ball back to the corner for a 3-point try. It is off short iron. Rebound grabbed by Willems, her second of the night. Zoe's going to lead the Bruins back up the floor with 2:27 to go. Bounce pass between the circles goes to Stoltzfus. And once again, the offense just kind of bogs down as she stands there and looks. Todd in the free throw circle. Mosier, left side wing 3. Good. Mosier scores for the first time tonight on the assist from Kirsten Todd. There's the steal from Stoltzfus. Her left wing 3 on the way. That's good. 17-6, Fairfield by 11. Bruins on a 6-0 run. As we come down to 1:55 left in the second quarter, Mosier tried to dive for the basketball, and she did dive for the basketball, but she got more than the basketball. Her first foul, team foul number 7. It's going to be a 1 and bonus opportunity for Fairfield. Natalie Whitaker goes to the free throw stripe. These are her first free throw attempts of the night. First one is up way off to the right, and I thought that hit the rim. The official out here in the center said it didn't. Bethany got the rebound either way. And it'll be Bruin basketball facing an 11-point deficit. Stolzfus gets the bounce pass up ahead to Todd. Todd throws the ball into the right side corner. Ball comes back underneath to Todd, looks over the top and skips it out to Horning left side wing. They've got Willems covered well, so she goes back underneath to Todd. Horning out along the wing, looks at Stolzfus, tries to go baseline herself. Willems out into the lane, out to Mosier, right side slot 3. Good. Bruins on a 9-0 run. They have cut this deficit to 8 with 1:15 to go in the second quarter. Pass goes underneath, going up with the shot, and missing is Morgan Gothrop. She will go to the free throw line. Zoe Willems picks up her second personal, although with 72 seconds to go in the half, I don't know how worried they are about that. First free throw is up and good from Gothrop. Jessica Caffey will check in for Bethany as Kirsten Todd takes a seat. And another free throw forthcoming for Gothrop. Good. As we'll see Kaylee Dillon check back in for Fairfield. 18-9. Bruins down by single digits after trailing by as many as 17. Caffey gets the ball over to Horning. Stolzfus will have to bring it across the timeline. Down to 4 seconds on the 10-second count. Crosses over and gets it across. Now goes back to her left hand. Had a chance there to split a couple of defenders and didn't. Willems on the right side wing with 55 seconds left in the first half. Stolzfus is out between the circles. Looking over to her left, that's Horning. Horning goes down into the corner for Mosier, Bethany's leading scorer with 6 of the 12. Mosier loses the ball, gets it back, has to work around a double team. Has Stolzfus out to the left side wing with 38 seconds to go. This is Horning. Right side wing going into the corner. Stolzfus gets the ball back as the Bruins have burned about 40 of their 72 seconds on this possession, which is a good thing in terms of making sure you don't have to play more defense on the other end. Ball's in the corner. Stolzfus has it on the right side wing. 17 seconds to go. They skip it across to Horning. Horning back into the lane for Caffey. Willems left side corner. Goes baseline. Up with the shot. And gets it to roll with 9 seconds to go. So Willems into the book. She's got 2. Bruins have 11. The shot from near half court is up and no good. And I'm going to be honest, the fact that it's an 8-point game at halftime is amazing after Bethany gave up the first 17 points of the game, but they outscore Fairfield 11-6 in the second quarter. We're going to take a run through our unofficial halftime scoring totals for the Bruins and the Falcons, and then we will not dispose of ourselves. That would be like, I don't know what that would be. But we'll give you a look at the halftime shootout coming up in a matter of moments. For the Bruins, it's Julia Mosier with 6 points. Mariah Stolzfus with 3. Zoe Willems with 2. For Fairfield, I've got Eva Herbert with 2 points. Morgan Gothrop with 4. Bria Garber with 4. Kaylee Dillon with 2. Delana Geiger with 2. And Bailey Willard with 3. And that doesn't look quite right because I think we're still short a couple of points somewhere in that calculation. So we'll get that figured out and step aside for our halftime show, and I'll be back in about 8 minutes with the second half. It is Fairfield 19, Bethany 11. 16 minutes down, 16 to go. You're watching BruinsVision. Welcome back to Bethany Christian High School in Goshen, Indiana. We're getting ready to start the third quarter, and the landscape looks vastly different than it did with 3 minutes to go in the second. Fairfield goes from up 17 to up by 8 as we go into the third period. It'll be Falcon basketball as teams will switch sides, and Fairfield will come from left to right on your streaming device here in the third quarter and the fourth quarter and any overtimes. Bethany will go from right to left. Falcons are out on the floor. We've got Bree Garber, number 15 in the starting lineup, along with number 32 Bailey Willard, number 14 Morgan Gothrop, number 24 Kaylee Dillon, and number 30 Delana Geiger. No, I think number 30 Delana Geiger. Trying to find her out there. Yeah, she's out there at the top of the circle. As the clock will stop and be reset. Bethany comes out with its not its original starting lineup. They've got Horning and Mosier out there instead of Horning and Kern, along with Willems, Todd, and Stoltzfus. So Fairfield comes here with an 8-point lead and 16 minutes to go. This is Gothrop with the basketball. She threw it underneath, had it deflected, and knocked away. Bruins come the other direction, a chance to trim the deficit to 5 or 6. Stoltzfus walks the ball through the jump circle. Bethany spent the first quarter and a half looking super tentative on offense. We talk about sometimes when the ball moves, the score moves. Well, the ball wasn't moving and the score wasn't moving. Willems underneath to Todd, layup underneath. I thought that looked awkward. She's fouled in the process, and she will go to the free throw line 26 seconds into the third quarter. That's Geiger's first personal, team foul number 3, or number 1 of the half, number 3 of the game. Todd at the free throw line for her first try of the night. That one hits both sides of the rim, but falls off. Another free throw opportunity for the 5'10" senior who plays for the final time on Bowler Court this evening. That one swishes home. So Todd gets the Bruins on the board from the foul line for the first time tonight. They're back within 7 at 19-12. Incidentally, that was the exact score of the NFC Championship game, or the NFC Divisional game a couple of nights ago. Fairfield gets the ball to Willard, left side wing. Her three-point try is up and rattles out of the iron. Rebound kept alive by Geiger, and they'll work it back around the perimeter. They reverse it to Willard on the left side wing. 7:08 to go, third quarter, as Fairfield leads by 7, still a 3-possession game. Runner is up and off the front iron from Gothrop. Rebound to Todd, and here come the Bruins. Again, if you just joined us, Fairfield scored the first 17 points of the game. Bethany's on a 12-2 run since then. Horning underneath to Todd, who loses the basketball. She thought she was fouled, but, ultimately you have to pick your battles and get back on defense, or Fairfield's going to torch you in that capacity. The Falcons skip the ball over to the right side wing to Willard. Garber gives it back to Dillon, and now Gothrop in the left side corner. Back out to Willard on the left side wing. Here is Geiger on the right side underneath. Garber goes up with the shot, and we'll see who they get the foul on. It doesn't really matter, I guess, if it's on Todd or on Willems. It's their third either way. And the foul is given on Willems, her third personal, team foul number 1. Garber will go to the free throw line, where she's got 4 points this evening. First free throw on the way and good. I'd let you know what she's shooting on the season, but Fairfield is one of those schools that doesn't make its statistics available, which makes it kind of hard to cover their teams. Second free throw up and good from Garber. So the lead is now palindromic. 1-2-3-2-1 across the scoreboard, or 2-1-1-2 if you write it down. Fairfield by 9 at any rate. Stoltzfus on the right side wing has the basketball, goes back to Horning. Eva comes to a stop between the circles, has to throw it underneath to Todd and had it knocked away. Coming across the timeline is Herbert with 5:54 left in the third. Herbert goes down the left side of the lane, back out to Kayla Dillon. Dillon between the circles, over the top, down to the free throw line. Garber shoots from the left side and scores. She answers Bethany's 12-2 run with a 4-0 mini run of her own. She's got 8 now. Falcons lead by 11 again at 23-12. Todd up the floor underneath the Horning, who is a little bit undersized down there at 5'1", goes up with the shot and misses. Horning with the Todd with the putback, no good, and the rebound knocked out of bounds off of Bailey Willard, It'll stay with the Bruins with 5:22 to go, third quarter. Willems puts the ball in over the top to Stoltzfus. Stoltzfus goes left side corner to Horning, back to Stoltzfus. Now Willems left side block, double teamed. Mosier, right side wing 3, too strong. Rebound out of bounds off of Fairfield, will stay with the Bruins. Stoltzfus triggers the inbound pass. Bethany has not scored, save that one free throw from Todd yet in this quarter. Mosier into the lane, back out to Willems, who's still looking to get her next trip onto the scoreboard. Will at least tie Kari Husingfeld for number 2 in school history, but she needed 3 points to get there tonight, and she's got 2 so far. Fairfield gets the steal. They come across the timeline. This is Herbert in between the circles, looking down toward the basket. Bounce pass and a crossover, or rather, to get around Horning. Now a step into the lane and a score from Herbert. She's got 4 tonight. Fairfield on a 6-0 run since that Bethany free throw, and the Falcons lead is 13 once again. Willems is over on the wing, pivoting on her left foot, gives the ball out to Stoltzfus. Stoltzfus throws it into the lane to Todd at the free throw line. Back out to Willems. Willems drives the lane, puts up the shot with the right hand, and falls off the iron short. Rebound grabbed by Fairfield, coming the other way. Almost halfway through the third quarter already, and we talk about, if you're talking about a comeback, you've got to start, there comes a point where you've got to start putting up shots as opposed to looking for the best ones. Driving into the lane is Garber. She's around Todd, shoots over Willems and scores. Garber with 6 of Fairfield's last 8. It's an 8-0 Falcon run, and their lead is back to 15 at 27-12. Stoltzfus gives the ball to Willems on the right side wing for the gets it back out to Stoltzfus for 3 as Willems picks up the assist. Stoltzfus now with 6 points, and the Bruins are going to take timeout. 27-15 the score as Fairfield is out in front. And we want to take this opportunity to remind you that you are you can come back Tuesday night and Thursday night for more Bethany Christian basketball. The Bruins are in action tomorrow night against Wawasee and Thursday night against Elkhart Christian. We'll have both of those games for you here on BruinsVision, with the JV tipping off at 6 o'clock. We'll have their pregame at 5:58, Varsity following at about 7:30 right here on BruinsVision. Also want to take a chance to remind you to patronize some of our small businesses. If you were here on Alumni Night a few weeks ago, you heard many of those small businesses mentioned by name. I know that we've heard from like Das Dutchman Essenhaus and Trevor Doherty Clayworks, and who am I kidding? If you want to go back and watch Alumni Night, you can do that on this very YouTube channel. But I know that Ben Martin and Mike Martin from Walking on a Dairy are both listening, and I don't know, I'm partial to the dairy industry because I like ice cream, and I appreciate the work that they do in keeping my waistline perhaps not as small as it ought to be. Having mentioned that, though, we need to get back to the action with the ball back in play as Garber brings the ball back up the floor for Fairfield. Ball goes over into the lane and back out, where Garber's going to try a 3 from high above the top of the circle and drain it. The Bruins used some outside shooting to get back into the game in the second quarter, and Garber has used all sorts of shooting to put them back out of the game here in the third. It's a 15-point margin once again. Stoltzfus goes down into the right side wing. Back up top to Colette Kern. Kern back to Stoltzfus. Stoltzfus into the lane and backs it out. 2:54 to go in the third. Underneath to Mosier. Her layup is up and good. Mosier retakes the lead among Bruin scorers. She's got 8. Score is 30-17. As Fairfield is in front by almost 2 touchdowns. Pass comes over here to the left side wing to Gerber. Back to the top of the circle. Herbert's got it. Reverses right side to Willard. Willard looks down into the paint. Now throws it into the corner instead. Herbert back into the lane. Garber bounce pass for the layup from Gothrop as she's on the board. And Fairfield once again answers the Bruins with a score on the other end. Bethany got within 7 at 19-12. Since that time, they have gotten 5 points, and on each of the ensuing possessions following those scores, Fairfield has scored again And now Fairfield is a stop and a score away from matching its largest lead of the game with 2:03 to go in the third quarter. Mosier bounce pass to Todd. Kern out on the left side wing along the three-point arc. Into the lane, she's fouled. But it'll be a baseline inbound. There wasn't a shooting opportunity. Herbert, I believe, Eva Herbert called for the personal foul, as we're going to see a Fairfield substitution. Stoltzfus throws it into Mosier on the left side wing. Mosier gives the ball back out to Willems. Minute 50 to go, third quarter. Stoltzfus on the right side, underneath to Todd. Todd looks at Willems, double teamed in the lane. She throws it back out and has the outlet pass intercepted. Herbert between the circle, or comes across the timeline, I should say. Never really gets to between the circles because she cuts laterally through the center jump circle. And holding out there on the perimeter is Garber. She's being defended by Stoltzfus. The Falcons have had to deal with Bethany's aggressive defense all night. They haven't really succumbed to it at any point, as Herbert cans a three, and Fairfield's lead is 35-17. 1:15 to go, third quarter. Falcons have their largest lead of the night, 18 points, after Bethany cut the margin to 7 earlier this quarter. Willems underneath to Colette Kern for the layup, misses the shot, gets her own rebound, then loses it to Bailey Willard, who comes up the floor for Fairfield with a minute left in the third quarter. Over on the left side wing, this is Herbert with the basketball. Herbert goes to her right, pass underneath to Garber, and she is fouled. I thought that Willems did a good job of taking that away from her, and that's going to be Willems' fourth personal foul. And Kristen Parsons almost all the way out to the midcourt stripe, disputing that call. I don't think she's going to win that argument, and I'm not sure how she could have seen it from where she's standing, but I am on the end of the floor that she is not on, and it did look like a clean block from up here. Fresh possession for the Falcons. There's a shot up from Garber that's no good, and a foul on the rebound, and I believe that may have been a makeup call. And somebody in the stands yells the same thing. As the foul is called on Gothrop, it's her second, team foul number 5. It is objectively amusing to me, though, that the Fairfield fans complain about a makeup call in a game that they're leading by 18 points and where they have committed half as many fouls as their opposition. 40 seconds to go in the third quarter as Stoltzfus goes over to the right side to Colette Kern. Kern in the corner, underneath to Caffey. This is Horning out on the right side wing. Caffey on the right side elbow. She's double teamed. Skips it back to Mosier left side wing for 3, and she got it. Mosier with 11, and to whatever degree Bethany is still in this game, the three-point shot is a big reason why. They've hit 5 of them, and that's accounted for 3/4 of the scoring. 7 seconds to go in the third quarter. Garber crosses over, comes into the lane. Backs out for a 3 from the left side slot, no good. Horning has the rebound, and there will be no shooting attempt for the Bruins before the third quarter concludes. So the Bruins put 9 points on the board in the third quarter, and they give up 16, but that sort of cancels out the second quarter run that Bethany had, and the score at the end of 3 periods, 24 minutes down, 8 minutes to go. It is Fairfield 35, Bethany 20 here on BruinsVision. As we'll get that marked in the book here and start taking a look at our fourth quarter opportunities. I'm going to find my fourth quarter color coding pen. Found it. A reminder that both of these schools are in action later in the Fairfield later this week. They host West Noble on Friday in their regular season finale. Then they're both in action Friday, February 3rd in sectional semifinal action. Fairfield at home against West Noble. Bethany at Fort Wayne Blackhawk against Fort Wayne Blackhawk. Those games both start at 6 on Friday, the 3rd of February, and I think both schools, you'd say, are favored to make it to the sectional championship on Saturday, the 4th of February, but of course they have to make it through Friday before they can get to Saturday. Here's Mosier, left side wing, Horning back underneath to Caffey. She splits a double team, and she is either tied up or fouled on the floor. The report to the table is going to suggest that it will be a foul called. Geiger picks up, 35, Jacelyn Hall picks up her first personal, team third. Fresh possession for the Bruins as Stolzfus throws it into Mosher, left-hand corner, and she slips and falls down and travels. 7:48 to go, fourth quarter, Fairfield by 15. Bruins need to get hot and fast, or the winning and losing portion of this game is going to elude them. Although I have to say that I think 15-20 is probably the margin I was expecting that Fairfield would come in here and win by. The Falcons, there's no way to put this, are good. As the pass comes underneath, a shot is up and good over a falling Horning from Hall. That sounds like it should be the first line of some sort of literary critique, over a falling Horning. 37-20, the Fairfield lead, 1 point shy of their largest tonight. Horning's on the left side wing, gives the ball to Kern in the corner. Stolzfus is down underneath the basket, which is a strange place for someone who's 5'3" to be. Stolzfus gets the ball back out on the left side wing as Horning looks down into the corner, gets the ball over to Stolzfus. Three-pointer on the way is a little too strong. Rebound tapped out and taken by Herbert. And we let the bodies hit the floor. I forget who sang about that. I know it's somewhere in popular music, but I don't exactly hang out in the popular section of music catalogs. Fairfield has the ball on the near end of the floor from my vantage point. Herbert gives it to Gothrop for a runner in the lane. Gothrop has 8, and Fairfield has its largest lead of the night at 39-20. 6:34 to go, fourth quarter. Stolzfus brings the ball through the center jump circle. Pass comes into the free throw circle to Caffey, over to Kern on the left side wing. Caffey gets the ball back. Here's Stolzfus in the free throw circle, underneath the Horning. Layup goes straight in the air and just about fell back and hit her. Fairfield gets the rebound. Falcons will come the other way. Gothrop comes across the timeline with 6:10 to go. Left side wing, Herbert's got the basketball. She dribbles to her right, skips it into the right side corner. Three-point try is up and hits the far side of the iron. Getting the rebound is Gothrop. She goes up with the shot and gets it to go. Gothrop now into double figures. Fairfield's got its largest lead of the night at 21, 41-20, and this Fairfield timeout will facilitate substitutions. It's a full timeout, 5:56 to go in the fourth, and usually I would say we would take it with them, but it's not like we have, commercial breaks to throw it to. So just to finish that thought, a reminder that sectional tournaments around the state start next week, Tuesday the 31st, in most locations. I think the only ones that don't start on Thursday, or on Tuesday rather, are the four-teamers, which tend to be more in the southern part of the state where the population density is a little bit lower. And so Tuesday, some cases Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday next week, go find a sectional, check out some basketball teams, even if they're not these teams. Go support the kids in your community, because we're all a part of communities, sometimes more than one. I'm looking at you, Keenan Winger, former Bethany cafeteria staff member, Concord teacher, Jimtown alumnus, and somehow he picked up the Smith Academy in Fort Wayne. If it's a day that ends in Y, Keenan's going to a basketball game somewhere. 5:56 to go in the fourth quarter off the Fairfield make, it's Bethany basketball. Stolzfus is going to bring the ball across the timeline with 5:48 to go in the fourth period, and the Bruins, they need to find like a 15-point shot somewhere in the arsenal, and I have never seen that described in the rule book. Todd goes underneath the Horning. Her left shot is up from the left side. It is too strong. Rebound is taken away by Fairfield. Really, this is... if you took out the 17-0 Fairfield run at the beginning of this game, this would be a fairly tight margin. Unfortunately, we can't just do that. There's Willard with a three-point shot from the right side. It's now, since Bethany's 6-0, since Bethany's 6-0 run to start the third quarter, Fairfield has started running away with this. Here's the turnover. Morgan Gothrop literally running away with it. She lays it in. She's got 12. Fairfield's lead is 26 with 5 minutes to go. This is Todd in the lane, looking outside to Horning. Todd back to Willems, who checked in on the timeout. Free throw circle jumper, rattles around and falls. And that's a significant one if you're following along in Bruin history, because that gives Willems 1,036 career points, which is one more than the esteemed Kari Husingfeld, who graduated in 2008 and finished with 1,035. Gothrop on the other end of the floor scores. She's matched her uniform number with 14 points. That's the kind of game it's been tonight. Every time Bethany does something, Fairfield answers. But here, as the Bruins have the basketball, I want to observe that Todd misses the shot, and okay, we'll do that observation later. Willems knocks the rebound down toward the baseline, kept alive by Fairfield. Falcons still lead by 26 at 48-22. Coming up the left side, this is Garber with the basketball. Underneath for a shot that's good from Natalie Whitaker. Whitaker with her first points of the night, Falcons by 28. I just remember I was the PA announcer for Husingfeld's senior year, my first year connected with Bethany girls basketball. And I remember watching her play, and Gwen Kelly, who's about to get caught on the rebound side of the ledger. They're both second in school history, although Kelly graduated with that rebound. And I remember thinking, it's going to be a long time before we see another pair of teammates make this run up the record books. Yes, I was naive at the time. It was my first season doing high school girls basketball, but we have found another such pair of teammates in less than 15 years. 50-24, the Fairfield lead. Twisting inside is Garber. She misses the shot. Rebound corralled by Geiger. Back underneath to Garber. Ball's on the floor. That ball's out of bounds, and ball will go over to the Bruins with 3:18 remaining. Here's Jessa Caffey checking into the game. Mosier is out. Also Colette Kern replacing Eva Horning. So Stoltzfus will walk the ball up the floor as Willems gave her the inbound pass and then took up the spot on the right side wing. And I got to say that as much as I don't want to admit it, in a 26-point game with 3 minutes to go, I think we're squarely in garbage time. Todd gives the ball to Caffey, back out to Stoltzfus between the circles. 2:55 to go in the fourth. Stoltzfus works over to the right. She's got 6 points. Willems has 4. Against a Fairfield team that has been every bit of what was advertised. Caffey gives the ball to Stoltzfus in the midst of a double team. Underneath to Kern, who threw the ball back in bounds, trying to get the save off a defender thing. Unfortunately, the ball did not go out of bounds. It stayed in bounds, and Fairfield will get it on the alternating arrow. 35 seconds to go. Number 35, checking into the game is Jaislyn Hall. Number 4 checking into the game is Natalie Whitaker. As we've got 2:35 to go in regulation. Fairfield leading by 26. Pass goes over to the right side wing. That is Dillon handling up top for Fairfield. She goes to the left, defended by her numerical counterpart, Stoltzfus. Ball goes over to the right side to Natalie Whitaker. Whitaker, right side of the circle with the basketball. Back into the lane. Losing it down there was Dillon. Now we're going to get another tie ball, and this will go to the Bruins with 2:13 left in regulation. Morgan Shupp comes into the game for Bethany, and they're going to send Kern to the bench, as it'll be Bethany basketball with a little more than 2 minutes to go in regulation. As the ball goes into the right side corner, that is Caffey giving it to Fairfield. This is Whitaker coming up the floor. Over to the right side wing. Now Whitaker gets it across the timeline with 1:55 to go. Bruins haven't given up on effort yet, although the winning portion of this game has largely been decided. On the left side wing, this is Whitaker with the basketball. Back over to the right side, and Dillon. Fairfield's not holding the ball, but they're not exactly pushing an offensive set here either, as we come down on 90 seconds to go in regulation. Dillon, defended by Morgan Shupp, crosses over, gets around her, and runs down the lane. Stops, throws it up, and catches nothing but net. I don't mean that in a good way. And then the outlet pass ends up in the first row of the Fairfield fan section, as Fairfield's going to empty the bench. We've got number 11, Savannah Cronin, number 12, Hattie Herbert, and number 23, Zoe Miller. So everybody has played tonight for Fairfield. Bruins pick up the ball after rolling it in. Willems is over on the right side wing. She's been held to 4 points tonight. This is Stoltzfus, right side of the circle with the basketball. Willems skips it back to Kern on the left side wing. 67 seconds to go in regulation. Stoltzfus runs the ball down in the center jump circle, brings it back to the top of the key. Here's Kern on the left side wing as we tick under a minute to go. Willems left side wing, working around the perimeter. Todd Willems, baseline, backs it out. She lost the basketball. It's knocked out of bounds, and it will stay with the Bruins with 48 seconds remaining. So it's a fresh possession for the Bruins off the inbound pass. Todd underneath for the layup. Give Willems the assist. Todd now with 5 points. The Bruins within 24 at 50-26. Over on the perimeter, that's Natalie Whitaker with the basketball. Fairfield comes back up top. Savannah Cronin runs the point here just like she did in the JV game. Stolzfus called for the foul, trying to take it away from Zoe Miller. No relation to Zoe Willems, as far as I know. And Stolzfus is called for her third personal. It's the Bruins' third foul of the second half, so at least we will mercifully be saved the shooting of bonus free throws. 20 seconds to go in the fourth. Willems is up there badgering Whitaker. And Fairfield's going to work it down into the quarter as the crescendo starts to build from the blue and gold fans, who are sensing a move to 21-2 in the coming seconds. Out at the timeline, that is Cronin giving the ball to Herbert, and that's going to do it. The sands of time slip through the hourglass, and Bethany falls to Fairfield. It's the first time the Bruin girls have lost on Buller Court this year, as they go down to defeat tonight 50-26. As that, we'll take a look at our unofficial post-game scoring totals, as the Bruins are led by Julia Mosier with 11, Mariah Stolzfus has 6, Zoe Willems finishes with 4, and Kirsten Todd finishes with 5. On the Fairfield side of the ledger, I have Eva Herbert with 7, Natalie Whitaker with 2, Morgan Gothrop with 14, Bria Garber finishes with 6, 10, 13. Zoe Miller didn't score. Kaylee Dillon finishes with 4 points. Delana Geiger with 2, Bailey Willard with 6, and Jaislyn Hall with 2. For Fairfield, 13 points in the first quarter, 6 in the second, 16 in the third, and 15 in the fourth. That's how you get to 50. For the Bruins, it was none in the first, 11 in the second, 9 in the third, 16 in the fourth. Again, Fairfield started hot on offense. They scored 17 points before the Bruins got on the board, and really, if you had taken that out, it would have been a fairly entertaining second and third quarter. But the Falcons went on another run. They're just loaded. They're just deep. They are a team to watch for sure in the 3A North State Tournament, which starts next week, a week from tonight or tomorrow night, with the sectional round at 16 sites across Indiana. With that, though, it is time to wrap up tonight's Bruins Vision telecast, as you can pass in the songbooks on another Bethany Christian basketball game. Final score, Fairfield 50, Bethany 26. And with that comes the end of another Bruins Vision telecast. This copyrighted telecast has been brought to you by the authority of Bethany Christian Schools Incorporated. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball. Our executive producer of Bruins Vision and our chief Swahili officer is Tyson Miller. Bethany's head of school, Dr. Tim Lehman. The principal is Hank Willems. Gary Chupp is the athletic director, and Kevin Miller, the assistant AD. Kyle Stocksdale is the director of technology. Stella Wilson, Milo Yoder, and Addison Yoder comprise the backup table crew. And we remind you that the last word of the second verse of Barry Manilow's hit single Copacabana should really be in the objective case rather than the subjective. That concludes our coverage of this evening's festivities and the Bruin girls basketball regular season. Bethany is back in action Friday night, February 3rd, when it travels to Blackhawk Christian High School in Fort Wayne for a sectional semifinal. That tip-off is set for 6 p.m. Streaming options will be announced closer to that date. We'll be back here on Bruins Vision 2 more times this week, as Bethany hosts Wawasee tomorrow night and Hoosier Plains Conference, or foe Elkhart Christian, on Thursday. In both cases, the JV pregame show comes your way at 5:57. The Varsity follows around 7:15 on BruinsVision.net. Of course, it's January. Who knows what's going to happen with the weather, so stay tuned to BethanyCS.net or follow Bethany_Bruins on Twitter for the latest updates if schedule changes are necessary. Now for our entire Bruins Vision crew, I'm Tony Miller saying thanks for spending part of your evening with us. Until we meet again, good night, good luck, and don't run with scissors.